Hello and welcome to Gallagher's Public Sector Market Minute. Quick answers to common insurance questions. Our guest today is Mike Kessler, an area vice president located in Dallas, Texas. In today's Market Minute, we'll be discussing the significance of insurance renewal dates. Thanks for joining us, Mike. Now, many public entities renew their insurance usually on July 1st or even sometimes on September 1st. Can you tell us why that is and whether or not those dates really matter?
Hello, Shannon, and thank you for inviting me to this podcast. I'm very pleased to discuss renewal dates and are they important? And moving right on, why they are important. Many renewal dates are made due to fiscal years or possible historic tradition. For example, in Texas, there are 1,000 school districts, and each of these has a fiscal date that's either 7/1 or 9/1. The school districts state that they renew their property and casualty insurance on the fiscal date, along with other very large purchases they may have during the year. Or they renew on September 1st because they have always renewed on September 1st. In my opinion, it doesn't mean that September 1st is the correct date necessarily. Many cities and counties also have a 10/1 renewal date. Again, in my opinion, possibly an even worse renewal date.
So you mentioned the fiscal year dates and historic tradition. So I guess we could consider those to be internal factors that would affect when a public entity selects their date for renewal. Can you describe or explain any external factors that may play a part in how a public entity selects the dates of renewal?
The first external issue I wish to bring up is one that occurred to me about 25 years ago. A hurricane was approaching the east coast of the United States, and an insurance company sent out a no-bind moratorium. The storm had entered the box, and the box is literally a box using longitude and latitude. Probably the easiest way is just think Puerto Rico. Once a named storm reaches that point, no coverage can be bound until such time as the storm is come and gone, and the insurance company has an opportunity to potentially inspect your properties and then determine whether they wish to continue to renew a public entity that just had a lot of damage, or probably even more unlikely, just write for the first time a public entity that had damage. Probably the easy example of that is one that I had a number of years ago. It was a 10/1 renewal. This public entity was 180 miles from the coast. The hurricane came ashore and stopped, and we had high winds and rain. Immediately, as the storm was approaching, we received an email from the insurance company saying the quote in August for this 10/1 is now pulled, and we will wish to inspect this public entity to see if there is damage, and if there is, we may or may not quote under the same conditions. So we had a tense 2-week period of time. The inspections did occur. There was some damage, but the insurance company agreed to quote as they had previously sent. And so we moved ahead. That same year, we moved the renewal date from 10/1 to 4/1. By the way, Hurricane Ivan produced 120 tornadoes, and some of these tornadoes were over 300 miles away from its location of landfall.
It's definitely important, based on what you've told us, Mike, to consider these external factors, especially when selecting an appropriate date for insurance renewal for your entity. Now, there's been a common buzzword in the insurance market, and that is insurance market capacity. How can insurance market capacity affect when an organization chooses to renew its insurance? Or could it have a negative effect, perhaps, on the date they've chosen?
So the quick answer about insurance capacity is that this is simply the amount of insurance using premium that an insurance company can provide. Insurance companies cannot just write policies without a limit. The capacity is based on their surplus. Now, if an insurance company has not had a good last year, they will raise their rates. They're going to do that primarily through the renewals of their existing clients. So imagine we just have a calendar in a circle, and I'm sure one will appear on the screen shortly. Insurance companies at the beginning of the year have their total capacity and they have the whole year to use it. But if they find themselves having successfully renewed most of their clients by halftime, July, and written some new business, as they reach the 8/1, 9/1, and 10/1 renewal dates, they may have far, far less capacity. In fact, they may have no capacity left for new business. And so they say, well, we'll just renew the clients we have at the increased rate. And so if you find yourself with a 10/1 renewal and you've not had for several years anything but the one renewal quote, when you renew may actually be part of the problem. So when you renew might be a problem from two perspectives, both a weather-related perspective of being caught at the wrong time or a capacity perspective. And the coverage parts that seem to be most affected by capacity this year seem to be layered property, cyber, and excess liability. So if you are a big school or a city or a county and you're renewing your property and casualty insurance in the fall, I think it's something you should take a look at. I am not a fan of any renewal dates after 6/1.
Thank you so much, Mike, for taking the time to help us understand the importance of insurance renewal dates. And thank you all for joining today's Public Sector Market Minute. If you have any questions about today's content or would like assistance in reviewing your own insurance program, please contact Mike using the information on your screen.